The while loop is another fundamental control structure in JavaScript that allows you to execute a block of code as long as specified condition is true. It is particularly useful when you don't know in advance how many times you need to iterate. Let's print out numbers from 1 to 5 to the console again, this time using a while loop. So let I is 1, and while I is less than or equal 5, console log I, and then I plus plus, and the output is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unlike the for loop initialization, let I is 1, in the while loop occurs before the loop starts. Then the condition I is less than or equal 5 checks if I is less than or equal to 5. As long as this condition is true, the loop continues. Finally, I++ increases the value of I after each iteration. When using the while loop, it is easy to accidentally create an infinite loop. An infinite loop is created when the provided condition never turns false, causing the code in the loop to keep executing infinitely. For example, if we remove the increment part of the code, this results in the number 1 being printed infinitely. To stop this process, use the stop button on the top bar. And as you can see, Visual Studio Code may freeze for a moment here, because performing this infinite task occupied a lot of computing power. So always ensure the condition will eventually become false to prevent infinite loops. Let's restore the increment part of the code. This ensures that I is incremented in each iteration, and eventually the condition I is less or equal 5 becomes false, allowing the loop to terminate correctly. Let's also iterate over an array using the while loop this time. Let fruits is an array of apple, banana, and cherry, and the index will be 0 for start. And while index is less than fruit's length, let's console log fruits at index, and then index plus plus, and we get apple, banana, cherry printed in the console. In this example, initialization initializes the loop counter to 0. The condition ensures the loop runs as long I is less than the length of the fruits array. An increment increments the loop counter after each iteration. Let's look at another example. This time, we want to print even numbers between 1 and 20 to the console. So let number is 2, and while number is less than or equal 20, let's console log number. And then number plus equal 2. Here we initialized number to the first even number. The condition ensures the loop continues as long as number is less than or equal to 20, and on every iteration we increase number by 2 to print the next even number. To sum up, the while loop is used to repeat a block of code for an unspecified number of times. The while loop consists of condition. The loop will continue as long as the provided condition is true. An important note is to ensure that the condition is updated within the loop so it eventually becomes false. For example, increment the loop counter to avoid creating an infinite loop. The while loop is useful when you don't know the exact number of iterations beforehand.